This week's AI Roundup covers 6 items developers should know, 3 open source projects, and 3 evaluation and governance toolkits. Reflex published XY, a Rust-backed Python charting library that reports interactivity at up to 100 million points. Y Combinator open-sourced QM, a multiplayer agent harness for Slack and the web. Genspark released GenOffice, an AI-first Office alpha. Moonshot's PerceptionBench, NVIDIA SkillSpector tutorial, and a NVIDIA practitioner guide offer evaluation and governance patterns. We'll unpack the numbers, how they work, and who should pilot them. Quick release snapshot. Reflex published XY under Apache 2.0 as an early alpha, version 0.0.1. Pip install XY, requires Python 3.11. Y Combinator released QM under the MIT license with fly.io and AWS deployment docs, and a Postgres dependency. Genspark published GenOffice under Apache 2.0 with signed Apple Silicon and Windows x64 installers at version 0.4.110. Source builds need Node 20, NPM 10, and a Rust toolchain. Moonshot's PerceptionBench and NVIDIA's SkillSpector provide evaluation and scanning workflows. These articles ran on August 3rd and 4th, 2026. Reflex publishes benchmark numbers and its measurement method. On an Apple M5 Pro, XY reports 0.071 seconds at 10,000 points and 0.081 seconds at 100 million points for a stability check across 10-byte identical frames. They report a 34 times speedup at 10 million rows and 177 times at 50 million versus their chosen baseline. Peak Python memory at 10 million, 0.32 gigabytes for XY compared with 0.84 gigabytes for Matplotlib and 1.86 gigabytes for Plotly. With density disabled, XY draws 100 million exact markers in 1.343 seconds on 5.26 gigabytes. A 10 million point interactive export is about 258 kilobytes versus 259 megabytes for a Plotly equivalent. These are Reflex's reported numbers and include the project's caveats. Why these numbers are possible. XY shifts heavy work into a native Rust core. It keeps canonical F64 columns in a Python column store and sends timed binary buffers to the browser instead of JSON. Rendering uses WebGL2 with density grids defaulting to 512 by 384 and M4 decimation above 10,000 rows for long lines. Exact values remain in Python, so hover and selection can resolve original rows when available. These are pre-1.0 policy defaults, not API guarantees. Y Combinator's QM is an MIT-licensed multiplayer agent harness that YC uses internally. The project targets organization deployments and expects an operator cloud account and Postgres. The docs show QM init to bootstrap fly.io or AWS targets, and sign-in defaults to a one-time link broker, but you can use an external identity provider. QM is harness agnostic, so different model backends can drive the same core. QM's headless core manages API, identity, policy, and the agent loop. Each user and room has scoped memory, files, a keychain view, permissions, and crons. Tool calls run in an isolated sandbox. Execute is a scoped tool. The core runs TypeScript on Node with Fastify. Slack uses Bolt, and the web UI uses Vite and Lit. The repository includes security.md for deployers to review. Genspark's GenOffice is an Apache 2.0 AI-native Office suite alpha consisting of 5 Electron apps: Docs, Sheets, Slides, PDF, and a shell. Signed installers are available for Apple Silicon and Windows x64 at version 0.4.110. The team reports 1 engineer, 1 week, and roughly $10,000 in model tokens for the alpha. AI features require a Genspark account, and model calls are proxied service-side. GenOffice focuses on file fidelity and sandboxing. docx files are parsed into a block tree, and only dirty blocks are written back. Untouched zip entries stay verbatim. Sheets uses a Rust sidecar with Calamine and IronCalc for XLSX handling. Slides and PDF use in-house parsers and PDF.js and PDF.lib. Security defaults include context isolation true, node integration false, and sandbox true, plus IPC schema checks and constrained AST interpretation for layout scripts. These choices and trade-offs are documented in the repository. 2 toolsets help teams evaluate and govern multimodal models and agent skills. PerceptionBench provides robust loading, parquet streaming fallback, then full download, blind prior baselines, OpenAI-compatible multimodal interfaces, and optional LLM-assisted judging with bootstrap confidence intervals. NVIDIA's SkillSpector tutorial uses LangGraph to scan skills, export SARIF and Markdown, add YARA rules, extend analyzers, and enforce CI policy gates. These patterns help teams perform objective pre-deployment checks. Who should pilot these projects? Data teams with very large point counts, tick data, genomics, observability, and geospatial, can pilot XY, but note it is alpha and validate thresholds and resources. Platform engineers and SREs can trial QM internally, but plan Postgres and cloud ownership and a security review before production use. SMBs and desktop teams can test GenOffice for local editing and .docs fidelity. Regulated buyers should treat it as pre-production. Use PerceptionBench and SkillSpector patterns in CI to measure and govern multimodal behavior. Bottom line, this week favors practical infrastructure and governance over model headlines. XY shifts rendering into Rust and typed binary transport for high-density charts. QM formalizes a deployable agent harness pattern for organizations. GenOffice experiments with AI-first editing while preserving file fidelity and sandboxing. PerceptionBench and SkillSpector provide reproducible evaluation and CI gating. If you run large datasets, org agents, or multimodal models, pilot these projects in staging. All source links are in the description. Primary reporting, Reflex XY, NVIDIA SkillSpector tutorial, Combinator QM, Genspark GenOffice, Moonshot PerceptionBench, Men.io practitioner guide. See the description for repository and tutorial links.